Happy Saturday, guys. Hope everyone's having an awesome holiday weekend. Um, Today is an extra special Saturday for the channel because welcome to the first episode of Real Life with Rebi Amaris. And yes, I am Rebi Amaris. Now, before we dig into the meat and potatoes of what that means, please do me a huge favor and do all those things that YouTube likes. And please smack that like button. If you aren't subscribed to our page, hit the subscribe button. It's free. It's the best way to support our channel, and we would love to have you. Um, don't forget to comment. Love to talk to you guys. Hit that bell button so that you'll know when I drop new content. And I guess isn't that all that they like? Okay, well, let's get into it. Um, well, I'm not sure at this point exactly how the page is going to go down. um, Sometimes it might be a recap of everything that happened during the week if we had a busy week. Sometimes I might pick a topic to do on it. Or, I'm asking you guys, if you guys have a topic that you'd like to talk about, please let me know in the comments. And, we will do a real life with Rebi Amaris on your topic. Um, the first episode though this week, basically we had a long week. We had a lot of stuff go down over the week, guys. So we're going to do a wrap up of this week. I mean, so much stuff. I guess I'll just kind of start with, we'll do some trial coverage first, I guess. The first thing that I had on here, I found out earlier in the week that does everybody remember Courtney Clenny? Courtney Clenny was she was an, Instagram influencer. She started out doing like health and fitness, and then kind of, switched over and moved to Miami with her boyfriend Christian. And before you know it, she was doing OnlyFans modeling. And um, then the next thing you know, Courtney had been arrested for taking the life of her boyfriend Christian. Um, Seems like once they got to Miami, their relationship kind of took bad terms. It sounds like there was some substance abuse problems going on, and the authorities were called to their apartment several times for domestic abuse issues and things like that. I think Courtney was arrested one other time also. But yeah, she stabbed him, and as a result, he died. Her trial has been set to begin on December the 1st, 2025. So that means basically when we're all, right in the middle of the holiday season, Courtney Clenny's trial will be starting. So we have that to look forward to. Um, Looking back at what we had on this week, DonnaAdelson, the state rested on Friday. We heard a lot of stuff that we weren't expecting, that we had never heard before. A lot of emails came forward, a lot of text messages that weren't able to be taken off the phone during Charlie's trial and Katie's trial and all that. New text messages. Heard some different things come out of several people's mouths as well. But it was very clear that Donna's defense team, they're there to do exactly that, to put on a vigorous defense for their client. And they, don't care if they have to throw who they have to throw under the bus to do it. And several times, at one point it looked like she was throwing Wendy under the bus. At a different time, it looked like she was, throwing Charlie under the bus, and even poor Harvey. One thing we didn't see that we thought we were going to see was Charlie Adelson testify. He did not testify, which was odd. But we did get to see their oldest child, Robert, testify, and that was very chilling. He's the one that is not really involved with the family drama, lives in New York with his family. As a matter of fact, his mother, the reason they don't have a good relationship is because she disapproved of the woman that he married, because she apparently did not like the race that the woman was, or something to that nature. But he said that he remembered when Donna called him to tell him that, Charlie had been, his life had been taken. And you have to remember that at the beginning of this trial, during opening statements, when the state was talking about, Charlie's death, I'm sorry, not Charlie's death, Danny's death, and when the neighbor was on the stand, talking about how he went over and Danny was still alive, and Donna put on a big show and was crying and crying and crying, to the point that the judge had to admonish her and tell her, stop that. Can't be making those faces and making those noises in court. But Robert said that when she called him, it was a completely different person. Matter of fact, acted like it didn't bother her at all. So, yeah, we got several different sides of, they wanted to make it look like that Donna was team Danny, that she just loved Danny. But yeah, that's not what all of the information said. We even got into, Donna's idea of money laundering. Money laundering. Running it through an independent company so that you have clean money. Come out as far as serial numbers wise goes. No, she actually washed the money, literally, like washed the money. The money was damp, and it was stapled. Like, who staples their money? Who staples their money? Well, I'll tell you who. Charlie Adelson does. So, yeah, we heard a lot of information, and I really, truly feel that they may be getting close to possibly throwing some charges on Wendy. And some of the stuff that we even heard last week, there's possibility maybe even Harvey too. I don't know. You never know, but Wendy, yeah, I think they might be close on that. But like I said, the defense will have their turn starting Tuesday morning, and we'll see where that goes. But it was great. Moving on to Sarah Boone, our favorite Looney Tune. She and Brian had their final family court trial this week. And she was not there in person. She was there via telephone. The judge had wanted Sarah to be there in person, but for some reason the Department of Corrections could not make that happen. So she was there via telephone. And Sarah did not understand what opening statements were. It went off kilter really quickly. But finally, the judge gave her some, as the judge said, guidance to try to guide her through, what her opening statement was supposed to be. And we got through that, and of course, it's the same old Sarah. It's money, 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 money. I want some money. Give me some money. As a matter of fact, she even went to the lengths of, in her exhibits, including a copy of the price sheet for the commissary, because she wants everybody to know how much those zoos and wham whams cost, and how somebody needs to pay for that. And she wants to be able to call her son every day, and wants to be able to, there's $4,000 that's being held in a trust at the clerk's office. And she has no problem with Brian, having access to the money, but she wants to have a say-so in what happens to the money. Well, we all know what that means. That means that money's there so that, our son can buy me Christmas presents and buy me a birthday present and buy me Mother's Day presents. Yeah, that's the kind of stuff. And no. That money's not there for that. That money's there to, for that child. But yeah, it was big rigmarole, lasted longer than it should have. We had some people there. One of my most favorite people on YouTube Tanika 2 Cents, she made it to the trial, her cute self, and she was there. So I was happy. I was like, "Yay, Tanika's there!" I hope that Sarah saw her. I hope. Flying monkeys. Yeah, we have the flying monkeys come after us on Tanika's channel quite regularly. So, with the flying monkeys. We call them, well, they're the flying monkeys. No, mindless minions. Who's the mindless minions? We have flying monkeys and mindless minions. But anyway, they'll everything that we talk about on Tanika's page, they'll go back and tell Sarah, but anyway, finally though, I think it was set to last for about 2 hours and ended up lasting a little over 3. And Brian's attorney suggested that they do written closing statements. The judge was great with that. And the requirement was that they be filed by I believe it was filed by the 5th, maybe. Basically, but Brian's attorney already has his filed. She gave Sarah's deadline was that she had to have hers postmarked no later than Tuesday. So, because the Monday being a holiday. I don't think that Sarah quite understands, though, that there will be no more hearings. I truly believe that Sarah thinks that she'll get another notice, that she's got another court date, and that, they'll go to court and the judge will speak and give them her ruling verbally. I don't think she understands that that's not going to happen. That, the judge also put a limit on how many pages the closing arguments had to be. No more than 5 pages. So sorry, Sarah. No, you're not going to be turning in a 33-page closing, argument. So 5 pages she has to limit it to. And if she gets it in on time, I'm just really interested in seeing how she reacts when she gets that written motion from the judge, letting her know, her decisions. As I said, Brian's attorney has already filed theirs, and I think that Brian's being very generous in offering 1 in-person visit per month and 1 phone call per week. Everything else, yes, he gets that $4,000, and no, she has no say, absolutely none, and as to what he does with it. And basically what she's getting is the time to try to keep the relationship with her son. And I think that that's being very generous, because there's a lot of people who would say, no, I'll bring the kid on Christmas Eve, on Mother's Day, and on your birthday, so I think that by him offering the 1 visit a month, I think that's being very generous. And the 1 phone call a week is more than enough. She does not need to harass them every single day. And I think that he's proven that he's more than capable of taking care of their son on his own, as he's been doing it since she was incarcerated, after she, did what she did to poor George. So we'll see that. But, Sarah's got more irons in the fire than just that, though. Her appellate attorney had filed an extension for her appeal, and he had also filed a motion to withdraw. Well, that motion was denied because he didn't handle the proper protocol for the filing. He filed the motion with the Superior Court for another extension. I'm sorry. And it's the additional extension that was denied. He had already filed an extension, and he had filed a motion to withdraw. Okay, he filed for another extension because the initial extension is up this week. I think it's either Tuesday or Wednesday. And he had last week filed for another extension, and another, claiming that, he has also filed for a motion to withdraw. Well, this motion for the extension, the second extension, was denied because he only filed the extension with the Superior Court. He did not contact anyone with the state or anything like that with Judge Cranick. So I'm not sure what happened. What's going to happen with that? Yeah, he's saying that the motion to withdraw based on the fact that he doesn't do appellate work anymore. Well, apparently he does still do appellate work. He just doesn't do the free appellate work. So, which is what Sarah's is. But nothing has been said yet about the motion to withdraw. So, I just hope that old dude's got her brief ready, and in the event that this wasn't to be able to be handled sometime late Friday afternoon or something. A little bit crazy, because Sarah was adamant during that family court hearing talking about her pending release. She didn't refer to it as her appeal. It was her pending release. And she talked about her pending release over and over and over again, as if the appeal had already happened. She had won, and we're just pending her release now. And so, I don't know what she's going to do when she finds out about this, because, this has gotten quite messed up. So, yeah, it's nuts. Let's see. What else do we have? Let's talk about Travis Decker. If you are not familiar with that name, Travis Decker is the man who on June the 2nd, 2025, in Washington State, around the Rock Island campground, which is around the Leavenworth National Forest, took the lives of his 3 young daughters, Peyton, age 9, Evelyn, age 8, and Olivia, age 5, and then fled the scene. Apparently, there was a custody issue going on, and he was also having mental health issues. And when they found the girls were no longer alive. They had plastic bags over their heads. Their wrists were bound with zip ties, as well as their ankles. And he hasn't been seen since, except a couple of times on some closed circuit camera. However, it was the FBI, members of the U.S. Marshal's Office. I think some of the Tri-Cities FBI agents, Yakima, Chelan County Sheriff's Department, Wenatchee. They all had people who pitched in this weekend. They actually closed down the entire Rock Island campground to do a really, really thorough grid search. And they said that for the most part, it was to rule this area out. They have already done several searches that they thought were quite, extreme. They really feel that they have searched the area well enough, but just to rule the area out. They are doing it. They shut down the whole campground for the whole week. Now, Friday, it was announced that they did find bones. However, the bones, they could not tell if the bones were animal or human. So they had to be sent off to the forensic office, state forensic, to determine whether the bones were animal or human. And if they are human, are they bones of Travis Decker? Now, that kind of tells me that, we're definitely, when you find human remains, especially if you're trained to find them. Of course, a human skull is a human skull. Femurs, the large bones of the pelvic area, even vertebra. Usually when you find human bones like that, you know those are human bones. So it's kind of looking like maybe the bones that they found were possibly rib bones, shorter, no long bones, like bones in the foot, the toe, the hands, possibly some of the smaller vertebra, things of that nature. However, they also did say that they found the body of a deceased person that they believed was the victim of a overdose. So, that body was intact enough that they could tell by looking that there were no bullet wounds, no stab wounds, no blunt force trauma. That they could look at the body and tell that they thought it was an overdose victim. So that clearly wasn't Travis. So now we're just waiting to find out either, A, are the bones human? And if they are human, are they Travis Decker? And if they aren't Travis Decker, then we still have a Travis Decker running loose on the innocent public. And so, um, and my goodness, had the horrible shooting in Minneapolis at the church. Two children lost their lives. Another, I think it was 15 or 17, were injured. Just a horrible incident. Nothing like that should ever happen. And the day before in Minneapolis, there had been a mass shooting the day before. And this has become a pattern. I mean, we've had so many mass shootings over the past several weeks. I mean, what is going on? I think that we've gone completely wacky. I mean, seriously. It's crazy. And then you throw into the actual mass shootings that are actually occurring and people are losing their lives and being critically injured. And then you throw in the mix of that, you have people calling in hoax active shooters to college and university campuses, 1 to 2 a day. That's ridiculous. I live in a college town, and when that notification goes out on cell phones that there's an active shooter, it's not just affecting every single student that is on that campus. It's also affecting every professor, every teacher, every aide, every cafeteria worker, every person who works in the parking garage, all the people who work in the administrative building, like I did in the payroll and accounts payable building. Um, it affects everybody. Everybody has to hunker down and hide, and then you have to sit there and make no noise until a group of police officers comes in and clears your building, and then you have to file out in a single line with your hands up so that none of the police officers who are guarding other areas outside don't mistake you for a person running out of the building to cause harm. And this is happening over and over again every day. And it's a hoax. It's people doing it just, no, you think it's funny? It's not funny at all. And then you throw in the mix of that, the actual shootings that are happening. I'm telling you, it's really horrible. I don't know what's going on with people in our world today, but it's sad, and it's just getting more sad as the days go. Well, let's see, what else do I have for y'all? Let's talk about EmmanuelHaro. Of course, still missing. And I'm just going to try to wrap this up, the way, this is my opinion on this case. And I'm just going to wrap it up as tightly with the bow as I can. From the beginning, there were no press conferences. A mother reports that she was knocked out in a public parking lot and her baby was taken. There was no press conference. The way that this information got out was on independent news channels, on YouTube, on TikTok. Finally, one of the local news agencies picked it up for their 5 o'clock report, but I think it was like a 2-minute segment that they had. Okay, so then the cops go talk to the parents, and we start to see holes in the parents' stories, and then we find out about the horrendous charges that the father has that he should have been put in prison for the rest of his life for. He should have never been out of prison to do what he did. Again, a shortcoming on their system out there. I'm sorry, if you harm your child to the point that she literally is left with only 3% of her brain function, she cannot eat, she cannot speak, she cannot walk, she cannot talk, she has to be fed through a feeding tube, has to breathe through a tracheostomy. You're a monster, and you should have been in jail for the rest of your life. But no, he got a slap on the wrist from the DA, and he got 6 months in jail, and then did 4 years on a work release program with the sheriff's department, and was on probation still for that crime when he did whatever he did to poor little Emmanuel. Okay, and then last year he was arrested again. He caught another charge, a felon in possession of a firearm. That's a probation violation. He should have been back in jail, but was he? No, he wasn't. No, he was still out so that he could harm Emmanuel. Okay, so this happens, and and it's horrible, and then we have a bunch of crazy, people who go out to the house and sit outside the house and surround the house, and then you have other YouTubers who think that for some reason they're Superman. Now that this guy on the Tierra, he had been covering this case. He was like the first person that started covering this case on TikTok. Okay, but he was doing it within the confines of the law. He's a registered. He's a licensed, private investigator. But you had Dolly Vision go out there, and all of a sudden, all hell broke loose. People are out there. Dolly's got people taking his camera onto the property, trespassing. He's getting everybody worked up. The cops come out there 3 times in one night. People are fighting. Yep. Because he showed up out there, doing his thing, yelling in front of the house, just like he did, that he got arrested for in front of Leilani Simon's house, disturbing the peace, which he should have been arrested again. All of those people should have been arrested. Because when you have, number one, those people in that house, no matter what we think of them now, at that point in time, they had not been charged with anything. So you had the police go out there, the sheriff's department called out there 3 times. The first, for somebody trespassing their property. The second, trespassing their property. The third was from a neighbor, because the neighbor was tired of all of the yelling and the carrying on that was going on out there, and he comes out there to ask everybody to please leave, and he gets into a fight with somebody. The cops get called again. Okay, 2 problems here. Okay, number one, these people should not have been out there, and nobody should have been trespassing their property. These people had not been charged with crime yet. No matter what we feel about them now, at that point in time, they had not been charged with a crime. And you have YouTube people like Dolly sending people onto their property with his phone. And she says in the video, "I'm doing his job because he's too scared to." Yeah, yeah, you're right. Yep, because he knew he'd get arrested, or he thought he would, but he didn't. But what he did do was he sent somebody on property that could have possibly, this is a crime scene still, She, no telling what she could have stepped on in the process of her, taking her 10, 12-year-old granddaughter with her onto the property. Thank goodness those people didn't freak out and shoot them, But regardless, okay, so you had this instigation going on, Oh, we are the, vigilantes, and, Dolly's talking about, I'll pinch a tin in their front yard. I'll go sleep on their couch, works all these people up. But the cops did not arrest not person one. Didn't do a damn thing. Okay? Now, if you wanted to go out there and put your teddy bear there and put your sign up and light a candle and say a prayer, that's absolutely. But at this point in time, did it ever occur to anybody that the cops may have been watching them? Because the cops don't know where this kid's at. And basically the 2 people who do know where he's at are trying to say that they don't know where he's at. So how about this? Maybe the cops were trying to just watch, because usually, they already knew that the cops were kind of changing their mind and starting to blame them. They're starting to think about them being guilty because they served search warrants on their property already. Okay. Usually when people start to feel guilty, if they really are guilty, they're going to start getting paranoid. And it won't be long before somebody gets in the car and says, "Oh, we've got to go move. Remember what we buried out here? We need to go move it because I don't feel good about it." The paranoia sets in. But unfortunately, we have this group of people who were kept surrounding the house and causing mass chaos. I feel that the cops arrested them prematurely. I felt they had no choice but to do so. I felt that if they did not, they felt that if they did not go ahead and arrest them and get them off that property, that somebody else was going to be harmed, and they were probably right. However, they took their little bear cat and they busted in the gate onto the property. They love this. They love to do out in California. They love those bear cats, and they will tear your property slap up with them. And then they kicked in the back door, leaving the property completely vulnerable. Okay, they take them away. CSI comes out. They do more tests, whatever. They leave then they leave the property completely vulnerable. Okay, still a crime scene possibly. Well, by now the rage is still there. Everybody's like, we're going to go out to that property and we're going to find the evidence ourselves. And we get up Saturday morning, and guess what's happening? People are charging people for tours of the crime scene and videotaping it all for TikTok to see. Yep. Yep. Because the police didn't bother to secure the property. They didn't bother to leave a cop sitting out there to look over the property because it was vulnerable, because they had breached the house, because they had breached the property gates. Nobody was out there watching the house. And so yes, we had more TikTokers because again, this is the vibe that's been brought. Yeah, sure, it's okay for us to do this. And they did. There is no telling what kind of evidence that they destroyed in doing so. However, the cops were called. Did one person go to jail? Nope. Breaking and entering, interfering with police investigation, trespassing. Yeah, nobody went to jail. And this is a 7-month-old little baby that's missing. And this is how much the cops care. Okay. And then, so then we find out, we don't actually have formal charges yet. We hope we get some, but we don't know, and then you've got Dad taking us out to, a field on the side of the road. You've got people saying, oh, we found him. Misinformation, all over the place. And you know why? Because, again, no press conferences from the beginning. No press conference. Nobody's talking. Number one, cops aren't doing their jobs, okay? They're not doing their jobs. They're not doing a press conference to give us any information. So you have people that are wanting the job done, that are trying to do the job, but then you have crazy people coming into town from across the United States that are ensuing just mass chaos, thinking, yeah, it's perfectly okay for us to go on the property and break the law and all that. Everybody do it. And you have the one guy on the Tierra who's really wants to find this kid, and he's trying to do it within the confines of the law, right? And what happens now? They tell this man that he can no longer be involved in any way, shape, or form in the investigation of this child's death. Yeah. Oh, but guess what? The sheriff's department, they're trying to take some of the credit now when they've done nothing. They've done zilch, nada. Riverside County Sheriff's Department, San Bernardino County Sheriff's Department have done nothing. Nothing. Okay. And now this guy is told, you can't do anything else. But we're going to take credit for what you have done, by the way. We're going to take credit for it. But you can't speak of it anymore. And I think that that's crap. They got a problem out there in California. This isn't the first time that stuff like this has happened. I mean, we had, the two little boys. Yeah. Okay. So, I'm really upset about the way that that whole thing was handled. Number one, little Emmanuel should have been under supervision of the Department of Human Resources, Child Protective Services from the minute he was born, due to the fact that the charges that his father had, the fact that the mother had alcohol, problem. I mean, yeah, that kid should have been under. He should have been already been under strict supervision. He shouldn't have went home with them at all, but So I just, at this point, hope that we can at least just find little Emmanuel and put him to rest properly, because I seriously doubt that anybody in Riverside County or San Bernardino County is going to do anything else because they just seem too lazy for the task. So we'll see. Who else do we have? Let's see. I guess that leaves us with Resilient Jenkins. Okay, it's, I've done a couple of videos about the fact that, these children, I 100% believe are in danger. They are not being cared for properly, and the parents don't have any intentions of doing anything better. Well, CPS did come out there. They did. And the reason we know that is because StephanieThompson took to TikTok to tell everybody about it. And she was mad and she was angry. I mean, so angry. I've never seen StephanieThompson to the not being able to speak. Her mouth is usually running a mile a minute. She was so angry that she could hardly talk. Yeah. So they had no right to come into her home. And that, it was not a nice confrontation, and talked about how she took her camera and she recorded him while he went around there, shook the room, I mean, she was just, talking like she was the thug princess, let me tell you, okay? And then she was like, what ain't it like, can't they only come like 3 times and it's harassment? No, Stephanie, they can come as many times as they want because it's not about you and your harassment. It's about the protection of your children. So sorry, they don't give a damn if they're harassing you or not. They're going to come as many times as they damn well please because it's about the safety of your children, not you. So you can handle that one of 2 ways. Either you can let them in and let them do their job, or you can not let them in, which if you don't, then I can promise you they'll come back with a warrant. Or you can let them in and you can be a complete little asshole like you were the other day and basically, prove that what everybody is saying about you is true, because parents don't act like that. Parents don't act like 5-year-olds when DHR comes to the door. Okay. When DHR comes to the door about your children, that is the one time that you need to buck up and you need to be an adult. Okay. Well, you acted 5. So like I said, I mean, but no, there's no 3-time limit and it's harassment, because it's not harassment. It's, yeah. I mean, basically, it's not about you. They don't care. They don't care how you feel because it's not about you. It's about your children, and are they being taken care of, and yours or not. And there's also in that same video, what was the most horrible thing, honestly, that I've seen since I've been following this family. Apparently her oldest daughter was holding the baby. She was in the bathroom, granted, she's in the bathroom doing her TikTok video, mad, cussing at everybody. And the baby started crying. And Stephanie got, angry and went out of the, apparently you could hear her talking with the little girl, something about, she had made a deal, I told you that, either you could hold the baby or, you could do your chores, and you chose to hold the baby. And then Stephanie shows back up in the bathroom again, babyless, and starts talking, and the baby cries again. And she angrily rushes out the door to the bathroom, and you hear, "Give me the baby!" And you can't see what's going on, but you can hear her. And I mean, it's just the most heartbreaking thing in the world is when I heard that little girl go, "I'm trying so hard to help." That's what our daughter said. Well, and how did Stephanie answer that? I can't even remember what she said because I was so pissed off. But something to the effect of, "Well, you ain't helping, you know." And the little girl was like, "I'm trying so hard to help." Baby girl, it's not your job to help your mommy, okay? If you're listening to me right now, I don't know if you are or not, but it's not your job to help your mommy, okay? Your mommy is a mommy and she chose to be a mommy. You don't have to hold your sister so that she can do her TikTok videos. You don't have to help. That's not your job at all, okay? And you did nothing wrong. I mean, that was just sad. And there's been others that have listened to the video, and I mean, there is a noise that a lot of people say that it sounds like when all this is going on that there's a slap. Um, so I'm gonna in the description box here. I'm gonna leave link to one of the videos that did a little short on it, and I'm going to leave that link, and y'all can go look at that y'all selves and listen and see. But I mean, it's horrendous. It's absolutely hideous. Well, that's about, I think I've got just about all of it so far. I hope that everybody's having a great weekend and everything. Speaking of the description box, one of my, favorite Amazon stores. I have pups and kitties, and I know a lot of you guys do too. And we take care of our, animals, not like the ResilientJenkins. They throw their animals out and just, be gone. And we don't do that, right? I'm going to be putting a link in the description box, though. Collars. I mean, I know that I'm, obsessed, with having collars, matching leash sets, matching harnesses sets. But in particular, these collars are just wonderful quality. They're neoprene padding, and they have one. They're all reflective, so that if your fur baby were to get away from you at night or something like that, it would have that reflective safety collar on. But they are cute as pie. They're not like bright orange and bright yellow and that's it. And both of them, either style, also comes with the dog's name and your phone number and everything engraved on the buckle of the collar. And you can either get the collar in, like they have one that has the easy clasp plastic collar, and then they have one style that has the metal collar, but both have the D rings, so that if your dog is one that can go for walks without harnessing, and you can just use the just the casual leash to the collar. It does have the metal D-ring for that, but they're super soft. They're awesome. Okay. And the price, you cannot beat them. So I'm going to be putting a link for that in the description box as well. And, ladies, when you get to be my age, you have to work for it. Okay. Like you can't slack. You get to slacken a little bit, and then wrinkles start showing up and all that kind of stuff. So one of the things that I love to supplement my diet with is Orgain keto collagen protein powder. And I mean, it is wonderful. I mean, collagen works best from the inside out. People will go and they will buy a $400 bottle of collagen cream. Okay, let me explain this to you. The collagen molecules are big. As a matter of fact, they're so big. Skin molecules are so tiny. There's no way that collagen molecules can even get down into your skin. On top of the fact that when you're putting it on your skin, you're usually putting it on several layers of dead skin. at that point. Okay. But yeah, so when you're buying these $400 bottles of cream, collagen molecules are way too big. They won't even, they can't even get in your skin to do anything. Collagen works best from the inside out. And this particular brand and particular blend, it's paleo friendly. You have the collagen peptides, type 1 and 3. It's dairy free, gluten free, soy free. It is wonderful, and it comes in this wonderful chocolate flavor. I put it in with my coffee in the morning, or if you just like in the afternoon wanting to have a little snack. I mean, it tastes wonderful. It is great. And I'm going to put the link to that also in the description box. Just try it, I mean, if you don't like it, hey, you know, but try it. I mean, really, I could not believe the difference in my skin, in my eyes. It's been crazy. Even with balancing my metabolism, blood sugar and metabolism. Um, I have, lost weight since taking this. I mean, it's just it's a great little supplement, to add. So I'm gonna put that in there as well, and so y'all can try that out. But yeah, definitely the Dazner dog collars. I mean, they really are awesome. Y'all, please go look at those. I mean, they have got them for an awesome price for the holiday weekend. Um, everybody wants to keep their puppies safe. All right, guys. Well, I think that just about wraps it up. I tell you what, we've got crazy trials going on. Why? Because they've taken people's lives. And then don't want to take responsibility. People that are about to go to trial because they don't want to take responsibility. People that are just doing just crazy out of the world things, and then I mean, come on. We've got a 7-month-old little baby that this investigation has been completely botched, not just because of the law enforcement just didn't do anything. You had crazy people, I mean, we don't need that problem. There are people that are on platforms like YouTube and TikTok that are really trying to get messages out to the public, investigative journalism and things like that. And they're serious about it, and we want people to know things. We want people to know what's going on in the world. Are there injustices happening? What can we do to fix that? I mean, we really are working hard for this. We're not in it for clicks and views, and the people that are in it for clicks and views, they're the ones that make it to where, when it comes time for a trial to be covered and we want to go in the courtroom, we're told no because, we're YouTubers. Because why? Because that's how, the judge looks at YouTubers is, oh yeah, remember that, that guy that stands out in front of people's houses and yells and screams, and all that. Yeah, that's those crazy people. Yeah. That's how, I mean, you're not doing anybody any good, but please stop calling yourself an investigative journalist because you're a drama channel. I mean, one of the first things that Dolly Vision did when he literally had just pulled up to the Haro house in his rental car. He immediately started asking for donations because he had to spend his own money for his plane ticket to fly out to California and to rent that car. And the whole time he was out there, well, granted, the other people were out there. They were all about Emmanuel, finding Emmanuel. Dolly wasn't. Dolly was half the time, how many subs are we up to now? How many subs are we up to now? We need them donations. We need them donations. Well, you know what he did with the rest of the, after this all died down, when they just went ahead and took the people into custody because of all the craziness he had started, with all the donation money that he had gotten, he went and rented him a red Lamborghini. drove it around Hollywood and put pictures up. Yeah. So anyway, just be a good person, and if don't, oh man, anyhow. Anyway, guys, I hope you all have a good rest of the weekend. And if anything comes back up, I will definitely hop back on here. But if not, I will most definitely either Monday or Tuesday be talking to you all. I hope that you all have fun, fun, fun. Please, please, please be safe out there. It's holiday weekend. People on waterways, people unfortunately will drive under the influence on the roads too. Let's please be safe, and please always, always, always know that you are loved and I love you. Y'all have a great one. Bye, guys.